The story of Half-Hangit Maggie in Edinburgh is well known, but have you heard the story of Half-Hangit Jock? To recap, Maggie Dixon had been tried for the concealment of her pregnancy, a criminal act, and was sentenced to hang at Edinburgh's Grassmarket in 1724. On 2nd September, Maggie, who was around 22 years old, was brought to the gallows, the noose placed round her neck, and she was duly hanged. Her body was cut down by her husband James and some friends, then placed in a coffin, before being taken towards Inveresk, where she was to be buried. However, John Murray and his wife, who were driving the cart, decided to stop for a dram at Peffer Mill, and when they came out, to their surprise, there was Maggie, sitting bolt upright in her coffin, the lid of which had been prized off by two joiners who'd heard movement within it. Somehow she'd survived the hanging, and although she tried to live in Musselburgh, she and her husband eventually returned to Edinburgh due to the attention, where they had several children. Following his death 8 years later, she set up a small alehouse and sold salt on the street when times were hard at the tavern. She lived until 1765, but was always known as Half-Hangit Maggie, and today a pub on the Grassmarket bears her name, Maggie Dixon's. The incident regarding Half-Hangit Jock took place more than 100 miles away, in the southwest of Scotland. The story goes, Jock McMaster was a weak drunken man who lived in Wigtown in the early 19th century. He was untidy, clumsy, and would do anything to get out of doing any kind of work. His mother was a widow, and described as a decent soul, who had some money behind her, but she was deeply troubled by her good-for-nothing son, who was always tapping her for cash. He invented all sorts of lies to try and get money from her, but he cheated her so often she was wise to this, and she refused to give him any. One day he managed to get paid for helping a man, and he and his friends went to a local tavern, where he spent it on whiskey. They made a night of it, and suffering from a hangover the next day, he needed more money to get another glass of whiskey to take the hair of the dog. He knew he had to get money from his mother. He concocted a grand scheme to get it out of her, marching into her house and begging for 2 shillings as he was awful bad. The old woman told him, "I wouldn't give you 2 farthings, and your head were like a gowan." "I will, mother," Jock replied, "any way you like. I can't live any longer this way. I would be better dead." "Pity, but you were, you drunken hooligan," meaning a dishevelled person, she replied. Jock replied, "Well, mither, if you'll no give me it this morning, I'll just go and put an end to myself, so I will." "It would be a happy release for me if you would. I rue the day ever you were born," came the reply. "I'll no fash you long, so I'll know," Jock said. He disappeared and got a length of rope, then went up to the garret. He unfastened his trousers and tied the rope round each of his thighs, buttoned them up again, and passed the 2 ends up and under his waistcoat to his chest, fastened it round his oxters, and brought the ends out at his neck. The short end he put round his neck and tied it securely, while he placed the long end round the rafters and secured it. He stood on an old chair, and after pretending to say a prayer, he gave the chair a kick, knocking it over, and began to gurgle. The old woman heard the chair falling over, so went up the ladder to see what was wrong. She saw her son, apparently hanging by the neck, kicking wildly and spluttering as though being strangled. She went down the ladder and ran outside screaming for her neighbours to come and cut Jock down. Having made so much noise, half the street came running to her house. It was Tam Porter, the local shoemaker, who rushed up and cut Jock down. He carried him downstairs and into the kitchen, where the old woman lamented over her dead son, until she realised he wasn't dead. At that point, rage engulfed her. She pulled out 2 shillings and slapped them down into the hand of one of his companions for him to give to Jock when he came round. It was Willie Macready who discovered the con. When he was trying to loosen the rope from his neck, he found there was another rope, and it was by this one that Jock had been hanging. He followed it downwards and soon discovered it had all been a ruse. The supposedly unconscious Jock, knowing he'd been found out, suddenly came round and bolted after his friend had handed over the money. He was chased by the tailor, who called out, "Half-Hangit Jock." He made his way to his favourite public house, and wasn't in there very long when the youngsters of Wigtown were screeching his new name at the top of their voices. Wherever he went after that, Jock McMaster was known as Half-Hangit Jock, but he soon escaped. He found work on a boat, the Betsy and Jean, as an odd hand, as she sailed for Liverpool with grain. At Liverpool, he disembarked, and no one heard from him ever again. If you enjoyed this episode of Scotland's History, please like, comment and subscribe. Until next time, thank you for watching.